Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at the most expensive cards from Lost Abyss. The set is now out over in Japan, which means we can go and have a little bit of a look at, well, yeah, the most expensive cards. Now, the usual kind of caveats here. The set's been out a couple of days, so let's try and be a bit careful here, a bit sensible, right? There's no guarantee that these are going to be the exact prices that go forward. Prices will move up and down. We are still fairly early. It is also worth pointing out we're not using buy prices anymore. I started looking at a couple of Japanese places and having a look at prices. The thing is, some of these places have multiple listings of the same card, and they do vary quite quickly. So what I'm telling you is, these are, as far as I can see, as we stand at the moment, this is a good approximation of values of the cards in Sword and Shield 11, as they are over in Japan. And these cards will be in Lost Origin over here. And these are great in terms of trying to get a rough idea of value of the Japanese cards, and it is great for looking at comparative value of the cards as they are going to be when they come out over here. The most expensive cards in Japan are going to be the most expensive cards over here. It is not perfect for trying to figure out what the exact price is going to be when they come out over in English, when they're in Lost Origin, which should be obvious, but let me state that right at the beginning. And speaking of right at the beginning, we might as well start off with the obvious one here, the one that everybody knew was going to be number one. It's the Alternate Art of Giratina, which at the moment seems to be trending at about a 35,000 yen card. Now, I actually did a video about this the other day. This card got its own video because it's trending so high. It's actually trending significantly higher than almost any card we've seen in the Sword and Shield era. And this is approximately a $250 card, or around about a £210 card. This is ridiculous. This is one of those cards where you're just going to be absolutely quids in it if you pull this card. This is one of those cards where things are frankly getting just a little bit silly. It's getting a little bit nuts. This is a ridiculous card. The thing is, I think this is partly because Giratina is a very, very popular Pokemon, but I also think it's because it's a very playable card. One of the things which I find very interesting, the regular art of both Giratina V and Giratina V-Star are currently trending at around about 1,000 yen. And look, 1,000 yen isn't very much, like at all. I'm not saying that 1,000 yen is terribly expensive, because that would be a silly thing to say. 1,000 yen, we're looking at somewhere in the region of $7 and £6 of a bit of rounding. It's not expensive. But if we look at most of the other Vs and V-Stars, they're around about 80 yen. That's what most people are paying. Most Pokemon V are about 80 yen. So if I'm paying 1,000 yen rather than 80, that's like 12.5 times more expensive than your average card. So yeah, this is actually pretty relevant, if I'm honest with you. It seems like people are expecting Giratina to be really good, and that is being reflected in the prices. So it's not just that it's a brilliant card that a lot of people love from an artistic standpoint. It's also pretty gosh darned expensive because it's pretty gosh darn good. And the number 2 card is another card that we probably could have seen coming. It's Lady, which I'm saying is trending at somewhere in the region of about 13,500 yen. Again, don't get too hung up on the exact price. The price does change on an almost daily basis. But you're talking about a $98 card, or around about an £82 card. So this is another one where it is just, if you buy a box and this ends up being the secret rare that you pull, you have done extremely well indeed. Now, Lady's fine. It's a reprint of a card that is, it's going to see a bit of niche play here and there. Lets you search for energy and put them in your hand. It's not a great card, although it will see a bit of niche play here and there. But it's a new female supporter, and I'm sorry, the full art of female supporters end up being quite popular, quite valuable cards. And you can think that shouldn't be happening, and you can be confused by it or whatever, and that's fine. But there is a real trend here or popular, or even just, lady's not exactly popular. You're talking about a fairly generic character here. But, yeah, when you have these female supporters and the artwork is good, they end up being very, very expensive as a full art. Not the Rainbow Rare, remember? The Rainbow Rare for Lady is coming in at 3,000 yen. That's it. That's so much less. 3,000 yen, you're talking about $22 or around about £18. It's not even close. Sorry. Now, going back to Giratina for a moment, there are some other Giratina that are worth talking about. Obviously, the next Giratina, the third card overall, is your Gold Giratina V-Star. The fanciest, bestest version of the V-Star, and that's coming in currently at around about 10,000 yen, which is $72 or about £61. And that's because it's Giratina V-Star, and it's the best version of it. That is the top three, and really after the top three, anything else can maybe get to a third of the Gold Giratina, but there is a real strict top three. The alternate art Giratina at 35,000 yen, the full art of Lady at 13,500 yen, and the Gold Giratina V-Star at 10,000 yen. They are the top three by a huge margin. But there are some others worth talking about. The full art of Giratina V comes in at 3,500 yen. No, it's not even close. Not even close to the alternate art. But it's still a card that's very much worth having. You're talking about $25 or around about £21. It's still Giratina V, which is a good card. It's still a full art version with a fairly low pull rate and all of that. So if you can't get the alternate art, and like I've said, that card is getting a bit ridiculous, hey, maybe this is not such a bad consolation prize, as far as it goes. Now, as for the Rainbow Rare Giratina V-Star, which is the other fancy V-Star, it's coming in at 2,000 yen, which is like only double the regular V. And yet the pull rate is significantly lower because it's a Rainbow Rare V-Star. You're talking about $14 or around about £12. It's fine, but there's nothing about this card at this stage, certainly in terms of the value, which is even remotely special. People don't like the Rainbow Rares. Certainly over in Japan, these Rainbow Rares, they do not attract the same value. I'm sorry, they just don't. So that's Giratina and Lady, which are clearly the two stars of the set. What have we got in terms of the other alternate arts? They're all pretty close together, or at least two of them are. Rotom V comes in at 3,500 yen, and I love the art on that Rotom V. You've got the other forms of Rotom being hinted at. You've actually got a bunch of item cards like Pokemon Catcher just kind of laying around. There's so many little Easter eggs in this card. And 3,500 yen, you're talking around about $25 or around about £21, which honestly, for a card this cool, this is at the kind of a stage where I would consider picking this up as a single because it's an absolutely beautiful card. But I will not be picking it up as a single, and the reason is extremely simple, because for about the same price, I could be picking up Aerodactyl. For what it's worth, Aerodactyl seems to be coming in like 100 yen, maybe lower, but they're so close I'm putting them both at about the same level here for ease of use, but ever so slightly lower. And the art on this Aerodactyl is phenomenal. It is one of the coolest alternate arts. You know, there's all the ones by my favourite artists, which I'm always going to love the most. But outside of my favourite artists, this is maybe my favourite alternate art. You've got all the fossil Pokemon, but actually just running around in their natural habitat. You got Tropius, who is apparently now confirmed to be a prehistoric Pokemon that's still around nowadays, and I just adore this card. Like, I'm an absolute sucker for any card that just shows Pokemon chilling in their natural habitat, but seeing this many of them in, I love this card, alright? This card is amazing. And I don't buy many singles of alternate art cards because I'm not rich. I do occasionally like the Hisui and Sneasler, you know, I'm only human. But I think I need to put an order in for a bunch of Japanese cards to start filling in collections. And I think when I do, this is going to be one of the ones that gets added to it. It is beyond beautiful. I am absolutely in love. The Galarian Berserker, I'm afraid, comes in quite a bit lower at 2,000 yen. which, you know, it's not quite half, but it's not far off. You're talking around about $14-ish, or around about £12. It's fine. This is not a card I particularly love, and I think that's a problem. It's not a hugely playable card, and like, the artwork's adorable, and he looks super happy, but it's not a great card playability-wise, and it's not the real top-tier artwork, or at least that's not the feedback I'm getting from people. And it's an adorable card, and it looks absolutely delighted, but it is a clear worst of, in terms of value at least, it is clearly at the bottom of the alternate arts. And then Lost Sweeper. Lost Sweeper is worth having a quick chat about. It's coming in at 3,300 yen as a gold card, so you're talking around about $24 or around about £20. And this is slightly surprising because these item cards usually end up coming in a little bit lower than this. So maybe it's because people think it's a really nice card, lets you lost zone some of your opponent's stuff, which is quite nice. Or maybe it's a bit of an anomaly. I'm not really sure, but I think people are liking this card for their decks. And honestly, you know, on some sites it keeps coming into stock and selling out, and that's why it keeps jumping up in price. And I suppose I should mention just quickly, there is another gold card. It's the Gold Kato Stadium. It's Collapse Stadium. That's coming in at around about 2,400 yen, which is actually quite a bit lower. You're talking somewhere in the region of around about $17 or £15. And I'm a man who loves Kato Stadiums. I love this Gold Kato Stadium. So, as much as I don't generally buy the secret rares, I think in this set I might have to break my rule for both this and Aerodactyl, because oh my goodness, they're not top tier, they are the tier above. But now I want to know what you think about all of these, which cards are taking your fancy, etc. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about, well, a whole bunch of stuff, including Pokemon. And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, like the lovely Noah Zoldak did. And Noah gets a shout out on the video for being, frankly, awesome. But also over on the Patreon, you can join the Discord and chat Pokemon stuff, share deck lists, etc. You can get pretty much weekly bonus podcasts where I answer all of your Pokemon questions. Seriously, as long as they're not ridiculous questions and they're things I'm allowed to answer, go nuts. Go and ask me questions, I'll answer them in the bonus pod, it's fun. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.